Best Interest of the Child Factors, Florida edition. The purpose of this series is to show how I personally built a bulletproof custody case in 2015-16 versus my ex-girlfriend involving our 2-year-old son at the time. It's my hope, with me pulling back the curtains and being transparent about how I did things to solidify a 50-50 week-to-week timeshare, encourages all fathers in knowing how to crush the best interest of the child factors. Let's get into it. Appendix A. The demonstrated capacity and disposition of each parent to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship, to honor the time-sharing schedule, and to be reasonable when changes are required. I will read these down from 1 through 10. These are the PowerPoints regarding this factor that me and my legal counsel back in 2015-16 generated for this particular factor. I'll start with number 1 and go through number all the way down to 10. This factor favors the father. The parties have shared time 50-50. However, the mother requires her 18-year-old daughter to babysit a lot. She does not offer the father this time with the child. Mother also uses her mother as childcare every Saturday. Mother does not offer father right of first refusal ever. Father routinely offers right of first refusal to mother. Second and third Christmas, he invites her to his celebration so they can open presents together. Didn't do this past Christmas due to the mother's recent allegations and requests for injunction. Mother tried to get an injunction to keep child away from father without good cause. The father changed the child's third birthday party date to accommodate the mother's schedule so she could be there. Father had to go to work early and then to work late to accommodate. In the past 3 months, the father has switched days with the mother at her request for days listed. Mother took child out of school early on the Father's Day to pick up, so she could take the child to a doctor's appointment early and make it so father was not present. Okay, these are the PowerPoint and information that me and my counsel generated, as I stated before. As you see in the first, number 1, my attorney decided that this factor favors the father. Now, I want to first be able to say it did favor me. And I can say this right now, being in 2023. There was no way that she was able to be able to generate the type of case that I made, as far as my fatherhood and actually being in my son's life 50-50. But what I want to share is, I'm going to break this down in a couple different spots here, okay? And so if there were times in this, in which you'll see if you stick with it, you like this content, in the other factors, starting with B and C and follows, you'll see that some factors actually were neutral. So my attorney would not say that the factor favored me if it didn't. So having said that, from number 2 all the way down to number 5, it's basically about, let's talk about first right of refusal. Right of first refusal, some may say. And this is something to where, let's say if I wanted to go out of town, right? And instead of me allowing my mother to keep our son, or my oldest son that was an adult to keep him, because he was 18 at the time, I would offer the mother, my son's mother, to be able to keep him, okay? And I did that, and I showed that it don't matter if I had to go on to work at an overtime day at a particular day. Of course, everything is text, and you'll be able to show this, and you print these things out. I was able to show, hey, look, I put your time with our son before everybody else's time. That's basically saying, That's me giving her the right of first refusal. She could say, "Oh no, I have something to do," or "No, I got I'm going to work," or "I have something planned," or "I'm going out of town." But she always gets the first right of refusal, and I always continue to offer her that. But she never offered it to me, even at my request. She wouldn't offer for me to keep our son, and she would let everybody else keep him when it was her time. So to me, even though she had the right to do that, it shows that I was more so encouraging a close and continuing parenting-child relationship than she was, because I was offering her with the time with the child, and she wasn't offering me the time with the child. On the same token, on the same token. So that was that. We both use extending, a family or close family to watch the child. She had an 18-year-old daughter. I had an 18-year-old son at the time. But again, I always offer her the first right of refusal, and she never offered it to me. Not at all. So that was a plus for me. During Christmas time, when I was on the second and third Christmas, even though we lived in separate homes, I had my home with my children. She had her home with her children, and we shared time with our youngest son. So when it was my day or my time for Christmas, I allowed her to come over so she can see our son opening his gifts, as he's a 2-year-old, and as he was a late 1 and late 2-year-old. So that was big for him, and he enjoyed everyone being there. His mom and his dad being in the same place when he was opening his gifts. That was also me showing that I was encouraging a close and continuing parent-child relationship. She didn't necessarily take to holidays like that. That's fine and dandy. But this is about me and what I'm doing as a father and what's benefit for the child. I was able to show that. I had pictures. I had videos. I had text messages of her, saying that she was going to be there when she was on her way. So I had all of this in black and white. It was irrefutable. Also, let's move to number 7, which is very important. Okay, let's move to number 6. Let's go back here. Didn't go this past Christmas due to mother's recent allegations and request for an injunction. Remember, I always try to tell you guys, for the 5 flawless fatherhood factors for fathers, number 5 is to keep your face and your hands clean. No negative texts, no getting in trouble, no DUIs, none of this nonsense. It's because she went and tried to get an injunction on me, which is pretty much motherhood falsifying 101, because probably 75% of the men that have custody issues with the mom, they've went and sought an injunction, But here's the thing. Now, granted, some of those injunctions probably are warranted, but I guarantee you, a good portion of them not. So even if 20 to 25% of them aren't warranted, that's way too many. But because she had no merit to do so and couldn't show even the slightest text of me being aggressive to her or anything else, because guess what? I wasn't in the business of doing that. Not just to put it on text. I didn't care what she did, nor was I in the business of cutting my own throat. Wasn't going to happen. So when she went and sought the injunction, it got denied, thankfully. So my attorney let me know that once my attorney got wind of it, and we just started being more protective and stuff like that. And I actually taken comfort, I forgot what he called it, not comfort stops, but basically when you call the police, it's non-emergency, and you get a escort to drop off the child or pick up the child, and then you drive away. That's just how serious it was. I was in the business of doing things the right way and making sure that any accusations would not hold up. But because she didn't have any type of merit for the restraining order or the injunction, that was a knock against her as far as this factor, because she tried to get an injunction without good cause. So that was a strike against her. So, and with me being able to allow her to come over and see our sons open gifts, and I even put mom and dad on the gift, even though he couldn't read at the time, but it just all about him. Oh, this is what mom and dad got you, even though it was all me. So these are the things that I actually did to help facilitate their relationship. And trust me, she couldn't show this on her side. She couldn't show this type of stuff because she didn't do those type of things. And just word of mouth wasn't going to get it done against my irrefutable evidence. So you have, in the past 3 months, and number 9, you have the father has switched days with the mother at her request. As you can see, from 12/18 to from 2/21, approximately 2 months, she made it her business almost every 2 weeks to ask me, hey, could we exchange days here? Hey, can we exchange days here? All out of the blue. This was her trying to build a case on the fly, because these were basically the only times it happened, actually. So every time she asked me, I was accommodating. Sure, yes. Oh, absolutely, not a problem. So while she was building a case and trying to hook me, trying to get me to say that, oh, no, I got something to do, which would put me at a disadvantage, showing that, hey, maybe I'm not encouraging a close and continuing parent-child relationship, I always see it, yes, I always obliged. So if you ask me, her trying to set me up to get me to say, to not agree or cooperate didn't work against me, it worked for me. And 10, mother took child out of school early on the Father's Day to pick up the child so she could be at a doctor's appointment early and make it so he was not present. This is a fact, and actually I had paperwork from the daycare actually stating that her and her daughter, it's not her fault, she was she was acting on her mother's instruction, was picking him up routinely on days in which I was supposed to pick him up. So the daycare knew what days, because we had him, at him on certain days. And she was doing this to frustrate me, to maybe even send her a negative text or something like that. But fellas, we know that didn't work. But those things worked against her, because I was able to get notes from daycare, from the administrator of daycare, stating that that's what the mother was doing, picking him up on my day. So my thing is, that's how you do it, fellas. You have to show. Look up here at the top after A, it says demonstrate capacity. The demonstrated capacity. That means you must demonstrate, not say. You have to show. Show what you have done. The word demonstrated means clearly show the existence of truth. Now, mothers don't have to do this so much, but us as fathers, that's what we have to do. Remember, like I've always said, put the future of your children ahead of any type of feelings you may have for or against her, and you keep everything else inside and you play the game to a T. So you can come out smelling like roses and being in your children's lives 50-50 or greater at the end of the day. And before I conclude this, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention about the birthday party. Almost walked over that. At the birthday party, there was a day when she did her birthday celebration, I was going to do mine. My celebration for him came before she was going to plan on doing hers for him. Well, I was going to do my birthday celebration. I asked her, was she going to be available on this particular day? Maybe it was like a Friday. She wasn't. She had to work. And that I was actually off that day, but I had to work Saturday. But what I did, I moved it to Saturday because she was off, to accommodate her, so she could come in. When I actually went to work early, got off work, came back and set up everything for the party. It was a party at the YMCA. And we had the party and everything for 2 hours. I packed up everything, cleaned up everything from the party, and went back to work. So basically, I sacrificed for, again, encouraging a close and continuing parent-child relationship. Do you think she would have did that for me? No. Do you think that your kid's mother would probably do that for you guys? No. But we have to show that level of commitment, determination, and fatherhood to crush these damn simple-ass factors. Listen, this is Flawless Fatherhood, Mr. 50/50, and guess what? If you enjoyed this content, if you want to hear the rest of the factors and an inside look at how I crushed the best interest of the child factors back in 2015, 2016, so I can ensure I have my son week on, week off, week to week, 50/50 timeshare, alternating holidays and all, If you want to see it, get an inside look at how I did it, just like I did on Appendix A, like this video, subscribe to the channel, soak in this information so you can build your case and we can get you in your children's lives as well. Flawless fatherhood. Let's make it happen, gentlemen.